Night of the Living podcast is always ad-free for patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
Staff picks. Andy, please tell us what you've chosen.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm going to hold back and try from doing my Roger Rabbit impersonation because I can't do one. But my pick is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Woo! There's no question mark in the title.
That's is it one of those? What's the thing where you thought it was something but it's not?
Mandela effect.
Yes.
Well, it's deliberate because it's bad luck to put a question mark in a film title. Apparently.
What about Bob?
What about him?
Isn't that a movie? Doesn't it?
Yeah,
Does
it
it have
is.
a question mark in it?
It does.
Wasn't it? That was a bomb, though, wasn't it?
I don't think it did well. I love that movie.
I
though.
thought What About Bob did pretty
I
good.
thought it was a
Critically,
thing.
I think it was a success. I don't know if it made a lot of money though. Did it?
I think it made its money.
Richard Dreyfuss, Bill Murray.
It keeps actually coming up when we were thinking of movies, old movies to watch. We watched Captain Ron recently.
Oh, I love that movie.
And I was like,
too.
this is like a gentler What About Bob.
Yeah,
And I want to watch What About Bob.
that's a fun one.
Refresh me on Captain Ron.
That's Kurt Russell as sort of a alcoholic, sort of bad captain who takes Martin Short and his family. He captains their boat for them as they're trying to bring it from somewhere to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's shenanigans.
Did you watch Moving? The movie Moving with Richard Pryor?
No.
It's a lot like Captain Ron. It's just about them hiring a really bad moving company and having to drive cross country. It's kind of like Vacation.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And moving sounds like, and we'll just keep going around.
Yeah, and then you can be like,
room.
but Bill Murray, who was in What About Bob, was originally supposed to be Eddie Valiant in
Yeah.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but he never got the messages because he's infamously hard to reach. He doesn't like to be easily accessed. So it sat, the message, it was a guaranteed thing for him until it was too late and they cast Bob Hoskins as Eddie Valiant. And then Bill Murray found out like way after the fact and it was way too
I
late.
think it's at the end. It's better casting.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Bob, I wouldn't.
Because it's Bill Murray is always Bill Murray in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob
And he-
Hoskins
yeah.
really disappears into
Yeah.
everything he does.
I mean, let's.
I mean, you would think he is this character. Like, if you didn't know he's in English, you'd never guess it.
That's what Alise said. It blew her mind when she was a kid, or when she was
Same.
much younger, when she heard him speak in his British accent.
I don't think I
Yeah.
ever heard him speak in his British accent until you're like, Bob Hoskins, dead at. And I was like, wait, he's British?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I'd only ever known him from this in like Super Mario Brothers.
And he's playing basically the same character. And Mario is basically Eddie Valiant. But then you look at almost everything else he did, and it's all over the map.
Yeah.
A lot of great thrillers and mystery movies. And
Can I just say, you mentioned Martin Short before,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard a rumor on the internet that Martin Short and Meryl Streep might be dating.
Oh, good for them.
Myrtle Streep,
Myrtle
who just
Streep.
showed up on Origins.
Street, who just showed up on Origins, which you can find at patreon.com/NOTLP, and you get pay, and then you can listen to Origins. Yeah, good for them, right?
I hope that's true.
I hope it too.
yeah,
I'd love that for them if they were nice people.
what a strange pairing. That would be a fun and entertaining. You talk about people who are always entertaining people.
But think about it.
Those two.
Is it strange? I mean, that's actually, they've been in the business a long time.
Yeah.
They both have very successful careers, but they're both older. You know what I mean? They're kicking around. They're not trying to
They're
like.
not
Right.
competing because she's not a comedian. I mean, she can act comedically, but she's not a comedian.
And they're not as. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Martin Short has stuff. I mean, they both have things going on, but like, I'm sure that it's actually a very nice. They probably have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
would-
probably fuck like
Oh,
rabbits.
yeah. I hope so.
I do too.
I hope so.
I want that for both.
But
of them.
I think they're more of an interest. They're like a blend of two colors that you don't expect.
Sure.
Like-
It is.
like,
You don't
yeah.
expect it. I'm
It's
not
very
trying to say you were
unconventional
wrong about
pair.
that.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
you feel like I would never have put them together?
I wouldn't have put them together,
Do you
but
remember?
it makes sense.
It's like when Whoopi and
Ted Danson.
dated each
Or
other.
Frank Langella, even.
Yeah, well, Frank Langella made a little more sense to me for some reason but Ted Danson just was like,
what felt random.
he was just like TV's pretty boy.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like, how do you guys know each other?
Yeah. Like, I mean, given Ted Danson, now I realize how funny Ted Danson is, but at the time you're like, Whoopi Goldberg at the time, I loved her back then. I watched all of her stand up and everything. I get it's corny now, but like,
Well, she's not conventionally what Hollywood standards attractive.
right. She doesn't look like the type of person that they would cast him with. So we're all programmed to seeing Ted Danson with Shelley Long, who is if you had a chart with like on one side, you'd have Whoopi Goldberg and Shelley Long on the other. That would be like a spectrum. That would be two ends of a spectrum.
That's
probably.
that's an anti-Venn diagram.
Yeah.
But think about this unconventional pairing. They did recently break up, but Bill Murray and Khalees were dating.
I don't know who
Her
Khalees
milkshake
is.
brings all the boys to the
Her
yard.
milkshake brought Bill Murray to the yard.
Yeah.
That's like, how do they
What
know
does
each
dating
other?
mean?
I don't know.
I feel like Bill Murray gets around.
Fucking?
I hope so.
No, I mean, is that like, was it just fucking, or were they like, let's move in together?
I don't think they knew.
It's like when David Gass dated Debrat back in the early 2000s.
And now you're like, hello.
Remember that?
Did that happen?
They were bearding.
Apparently.
Each other.
Yeah.
David Guest.
That's Liza Minnelli's
Liza Minnelli's
ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
Oh.
Yeah,
What-
Debrat.
Didn't they also
They
feel,
were on the Surreal Life, I think, together.
Brat came
Yeah.
out not that long
Yeah.
ago.
he's the one that everybody said was like using Liza Minnelli as some sort of beard?
Yes.
And for money,
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
He died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liza Minnelli.
And Liza's still kicking,
Anyway,
despite
Like,
what Buster tried to do to her.
Did Khalees make a milkshake? And Bill Murray was like, hey, what's up?
he came to her yard.
Mm.
It's like, nice yard you got there. Yeah, have a milkshake. So anyway, how are we doing?
Oh, we're okay.
You know.
Everybody's sickness is starting to clear up.
Yeah, we all had
Except for me,
bug.
knock on wood.
Oh, Lord.
I woke up on my birthday sick AF.
That's the worst.
Not cool.
Sick AF.
Happy birthday.
Oh, I felt horrible. I had a doctor's appointment. I canceled it. I was like, I am going like this.
Yeah.
Dying.
It's like, I know I'm sick. I don't need a doctor to tell me that.
And I went back to sleep
Which
till
is
like
a fine birthday.
fucking
whatever.
11. Well, I don't really do that anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shame anyone who sleeps.
No, I don't really do it either.
I
nap,
can't.
but
I can't even
sleep.
nap. Like, I don't.
I can't either. I hate that.
It's so very rare
yeah.
that I actually like. I'll stay in bed for half a day and just like read and do shit.
Floor is lava. You gotta protect yourself.
Yeah.
You just want that sweet little bit of sleep in the middle of the day would be amazing, right?
But I can't do it.
You can't do it.
I can't even sleep. I can hardly sleep past like 9.
yeah.
And that's unusual to
It's
get
like a
there.
disability.
It is. So I was sick as shit and I slept. That's how I knew I was sick.
Baby.
But I'm better now.
I'm glad you're better.
And I'm 47 years old.
Looking great.
47 years young.
Thank you.
So you did Origins, so that means you're squeezing for Topicana. Do you have a question for us yet, Mr. Kelley?
Mm-mm.
All right. We're going to find out together later. Patrons, thank you so much for supporting the show. That's one of the things you get is
There will
Topicana.
be a surprise Kelley squeeze.
Yeah, we just did video game memories, which was so much fun.
Oh, it was such a fun one. Oh man, I loved that one.
It was, if you like reminiscing, it was a reminiscent, kind of nostalgic, but also I think we revealed a little something about ourselves growing up. Maybe
Andy had a fucking he time traveled and got a Super Nintendo before anybody else did.
yeah.
He had like a
Well,
pre-US
continent travel.
He
release,
continent traveled. He got it from Hong Kong.
pre-US release
But
by
you
like
never used it.
4 to 5 years.
Well, don't
never
put the cart
used it.
before the
Wait,
horse.
you're going
Don't
to
give it
spoil
away.
it.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
spoil
sorry.
it, but
I just
you'll
wanted
know.
to tease.
Yeah.
There is something cool about that.
Yeah.
It's a neat story, but also it makes me think that Andy had a winning lottery ticket under his nose for years and didn't know it.
It'd be fun if I just made that story up. Turns
Yeah.
out I did.
Well, now I
That
think
would
you're lying.
be heartbreaking. I think is the word.
How do you know anything I tell you is the truth?
Are you
at
like
all?
a million little pieces guy?
Actually, I'm made of a bunch of rats.
You're made of a bunch of rats. I
It's like
knew.
that kid from.
Are you a rat king?
What was that series of books in the West Side Story?
Oh,
Sideways Stories.
Sideways
Stories
Stories.
from Wayside.
Wayside
Yeah.
School.
There was
Wayside
one of the
Elementary.
stories was like this new kid. It turns out who's just made a bunch of
Rats in a Trench Pit, right?
Loved Wayside.
Yeah.
So-
That's me.
Those are so good.
When the new kid who's just made of rats turns back into a bunch of rats, like where's his personality go?
All the rats have it.
They all
It's just
have
split
it.
up between all the rats.
Oh, okay. Like Herman's head.
Yeah.
But by like 100
I
rats.
never thought about any of these questions, and now that's all I want to talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of deep. Amy finally saw for the first time Hercules. She saw remember they made the 5 made-for-TV Hercules movies in the 90s?
Oh, the Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah.
I know.
We don't like Kevin Sorbo either, but Hercules
Oh, I
is
loved
something
Hercules.
special.
Hercules
Yeah.
and Aeolus, who I like to call Areolus.
Yeah, and I like to call him A-holus.
Aeolus. Nice.
Yeah. I like that we had a different variation.
We did.
Trying to get Hercules added into the rotation for a long
Well,
time.
because that's how you get to Xena.
Yeah, Xena
And I wa-
is the end result, right?
I
You want to
want
get to Xena.
to
Yeah.
get to Xena. Trust me.
Do you have to watch Hercules to get to Xena?
He says I do.
You
don't have to.
Amy does because how the
I'm a
way
little
she
completist.
does it. Like
Is she
had-
completist?
Amy would not
I
watch.
need the full breadth and context of
she
everything.
needs it. Like she won't just start in the middle of something.
And, if that means, listen, Kevin Sorbo was a roadblock until Freddy forced the issue.
I didn't force the issue. I just started watching Hercules and the Amazon Women, and you happened to be in the room and you got into it. Remember?
That's called forcing the issue.
But then I was like, I noticed that she was enjoying it.
No, it was fun because it's cheesy and cheap and silly.
Yeah.
And Kevin Sorbo is such a doofus with
Yeah.
a dumb fucking face.
He does have. That's part of the charm.
Yeah.
He looks like such a dipshit. That's
Yeah.
what I always thought. I was like, look at this dumbass.
Hercules is kind of a dumbass.
He doesn't even look Greek. He barely looks like he's like, hey, I'm here to teach you how to surf. Like
Yeah.
that's what.
Yeah,
He's like a Florida boy.
But he's also if Fabio on the romance novels came to life as
Yeah.
Hercules, it's Kevin Sorbo's Hercules.
Totally with the shirt.
Yes, and he starts as a total prick. Like the character himself is what Sorbo is in real life in the beginning. In the Amazon Hercules
He
and the Amazon
learned
Women.
Nothing.
He did at the end though. He learned all kinds of stuff. The difference
he got
is
his dick wet. And
Sorbo
he's
never
changed.
learned those lessons, and it was astounding when you watch Amazon Women and you know who Kevin Sorbo is in real life, and then you see Hercules doing all these like really misogynistic and just prick person, just all around
Just prick
awful
shit.
dude. In
Then
the
what's the-
first half of the movie,
Then what's the point of watching a show or a movie where the character is awful?
he's not. That's the thing. The
Character's
character
not.
They're gonna
He
change him.
He changed. This is like the first one is like a Christmas Carol for Hercules. Only instead of learning about the meaning of Christmas, he learns about the meaning of respecting women. Instead of being visited by 3 ghosts,
Too bad it didn't take in real life.
it didn't take in real life. But he was visited by the tribe of Amazon women, and which included Lucy Lawless playing a different character.
Yeah, I didn't.
And woo, E.T. Shade.
Okay, all right.
I did not-
Homina.
I did not watch the Hercules movie TV
dude, watch
movies. I
the
watched the
movies.
show.
Yeah.
Well, then, can I just start the show?
Yeah. If you want. You already made it 2 movies
When
in.
does isn't Ted Raimi in this show?
Joxer.
Yeah, Joxer.
When does he?
And Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell turns up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you get a lot of fun cameos and all kinds of people who later would go on to work on like big stuff, like the costume people, the effects people. This is like
Burn Notice.
Yeah, all these people cut their teeth on this. I still have to watch Burn Notice.
Of all the things to say, burn notice.
Burn Notice.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell, man.
Was there other people from the Hercules shows that worked on that too?
I don't think so.
Mainly Bruce Campbell.
Mainly Bruce Campbell.
Is that what you do?
Largely.
Yeah.
You're always going to see how it relates back to burn notice.
Everything goes.
Everything is like 45 or 50 degrees of burn
Is
notice.
this the new Kevin Bacon?
451 degrees of burn notice.
So yeah, Hercules, I guess, is in my life
That's
now.
fun.
Fahrenheit humor.
Yeah, I liked it.
But anyways, I'm excited about that. Amy, I don't know.
I gotta throw something in that is current,
Yeah.
right? I gotta find something. I mean, I'm up to date on Bob's Burgers
Monarch.
and AFV. Oh yeah, I need
Burn
to throw
Notice?
Have you started Monarch?
in.
Have you watched
neither.
Burn Notice?
I meant really current, something new, because it can't just be constantly Newhart, Stargate,
Well, you know what shit I feel is new?
Hercules.
Stuff that's 20 years old feels
Well,
new.
yeah,
And I get mixed up. And then I'm like, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Timelines in art, they don't need to be together. You can just fuck it. Don't even worry about it.
I was
Don't even worry about
talking about something from a long time ago the other day, and I was like, oh man, that's been like 20 years. And then I stopped. I was like, oh wait, it's been like 37 years.
Yeah. That's a sobering moment when 20 years is no longer like a long time ago at all.
I was bopping around and making decisions 40 years ago. Like I was outside by myself. You know what I mean? Like I could cross the street without asking.
You were like those
40. That's 40 years ago. I was at that point.
Yeah, I know.
7 years old.
Like those adorable little Japanese kids that they send to the grocery store by themselves, or that show. What is that? What was that?
I don't remember.
Remember how
It was
cute
on
that was?
Netflix, and you just get to watch these kids perform chores by themselves.
They like send a kid. They're like, "Here's a list. I need you to go to the store and get
But
radishes."
I mean, maybe at 7, I don't know that I could cross the street by myself.
Oh,
no, I
I
could.
could.
Now,
I could.
7-year-olds back in our day are different than 7-year-olds now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We could survive.
Yeah, we had weaponry. And
No one
stuff.
was.
I had brass knuckles.
No
when I
one
was
cared
7.
to. That's how they taught us. It was like it was the throw you in to learn how to swim method of raising children.
I had to go to the gas station all the time to pick up stuff.
Yeah,
I had to go get my mom cigarettes.
I had to go to a local bar and pick up coleslaw on the reg, but it's where I played not Dungeons and Dragons, Double Dragon.
You picked up
was the
coleslaw
shit.
on the reg? How?
Why
the
is
reg.
the coleslaw at the bar so good?
It was called the Hitching Post, and it used to be right over near us. It was this tiny little bar restaurant that. You remember this, Kelley? Like it was off. It was my parents just loved their coleslaw, but also I don't know. Maybe my parents wanted me out of the house so they could mess around. Maybe I'm beginning to think because they would also send me out for garlic bread at La Rosa's, and I would get quarters to play whatever. Oh, actually, Double Dragon was La Rosa's.
Yeah.
Hitching Post was Galaga. It was the cocktail version where you sat down at the table
Yeah.
and played Galaga.
Cocktail Galaga.
Cocktail Galaga, because I could sit there and just. You know, whatever they gave me. in
Galaga
change.
was, first of all, A+ game. I do like
Yeah.
Galaga 2 better. But that was also a popular game around these parts. A lot of places
Yeah.
had Galaga and Galaga 2. Northgate Cinemas.
Yeah.
Galaga 2 machine.
Well, it was a great game.
It was a great
all
game.
over, man.
So you just sat there and played Galaga for hours while the coleslaw got warm?
No, I never had enough quarters to play it for hours. God, Galaga, I might have gotten 10 minutes in before I ran out of money. I wasn't very good at it. I just liked playing it.
It was that's the thing. Like, it was fun to play, but it was over so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about like
It was
now
ephemeral.
as an as an adult, I would not have the patience for that.
You play
but there's-
video games all the time.
But there's something about those games.
So you will not sit, because I will absolutely sit down and play a fucking simple ass Atari game all day long.
that's a frustrating game
games.
because one
Yeah.
hit, you're dead. It's
You
not like
want-
you had a power bar.
Yeah.
Well, you want me to sit down and play like
You got 3
Cuphead,
lives.
and it's fucking hard. and I'm
Cuphead is
out.
hard, but it's fun.
I have
And
no patience for you.
I feel like the thing about
Old
the game,
yay.
like Cuphead, is just so beautifully animated that I don't even
is
care that
beautiful.
I'm constantly dying.
That's
yeah.
I think it's almost too. I feel like I would be distracted the first 10 times I tried to go through and play that game.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous, so I
It
love
is really
watching
gorgeous.
people play it.
I love that they did the little animated series. It's pretty good on Netflix, I think.
Fuck you, Cuphead.
Anyway, anything else for the top?
I still
before-
get kind of icky when people say Cuphead because it sounds like a slur to me.
Do you not think about, I declare, Cuphead?
Cuphead. Just trying to find our Jugface video from Horror Hound many years ago. I wonder if I still have that.
You know our friend Brother D, right? I realize I haven't mentioned like the cool thing he's doing over in Kuwait on here, and I should.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Fresh my memory.
Okay, Brother D, who did Mail Order Zombie and Monster Kid Radio and still does. He and his partner are over in Kuwait starting a haunt with local people. Like they're showing them how to do a Western style haunted house, and they've been over there for at least a month now. And he's writing a book about it. But I just thought it was one of the cooler things. Like today, I was on Facebook. You posted a picture of like.
It's very different. Like who would have thought?
Yeah, I don't want to search for anything, Siri. She's nosy. But I just thought it was really neat.
That
all.
is
I
neat.
just wanted
Good
to say
job,
that.
Brother D.
Yeah.
And yes, I think I have the Jug Face. I have a shit ton of
Thank you.
videos somewhere, but I have to go through them.
They're all on VHS.
Talking about Brother D, talking about Jugface and the Horror Hounds, and we have so many years of memories and cool people we've met that are doing cool things. One of those really cool memories being Jugface.
I'm sorry, what face, Amy?
Jugface.
That movie still has a cult following too.
I have never once
Probably
seen
not
it.
as much as that bit.
Our bit that we posted on the internet
You think it
somewhere
helped?
10 years ago definitely helped.
Jugface.
I'm telling you, it did.
I'm telling you it did.
Ooh, you tell me.
I'm telling you.
You tell me.
Tell you a thing.
All right. Have we bantered?
I feel like the banter's been accomplished.
All right. We'll be right back.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for straight-to-video Russian roulette.
Oh, Andy, are you ready for your birth and rebirth?
No. you caught me in the middle of a drink. It's like when the waiters come by your table and like, how's your meal?
Oh, he knew.
Right in the middle
That was
of
good,
like a bite. Like,
That was good, though.
Oh, so Rebirth. I really like this movie. I don't know if I can review it without. I'm gonna try my best to review it without doing spoilers.
It looked good.
It was really good, actually. It's not. I don't know if it's a horror movie.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, I don't know either.
It didn't seem very horror-ish to me. It's more about the characters. Horror-ish. Put some clothes on. It's more about the characters and the actual horror. I mean, even the horror parts, there was very little horror. It's more not even psychological.
They branded
thriller?
it as a horror movie.
Drama?
For sure. The
I don't
company
know.
that made
Yeah,
it.
I guess it's horror because it's about reanimating a corpse, but she barely factors into it. It's more about the characters around it.
She's Chekhov's corpse.
It's got people.
That corpse better go off by Act 3.
If that corpse doesn't
off.
I won't be so mad.
Go off, AWF.
That's right.
Off.
Woof.
It's got the last week you guys were excited about Judy Reyes from those Scrubs.
Gala.
What is Judy Reyes from again?
Scrubs.
Carla Turkleton.
Scrubs, yeah.
We had the same fucking
no.
conversation last week.
I couldn't hear the last thing he said. That's all.
She's
Stop it.
playing another nurse because she's typecast.
Yeah.
As
I think she
nurses.
might have played a nurse
Yeah.
in something else, too. I'm not sure.
Well, good for her. As long as there's nurses in movies, she has her job.
Get that paycheck.
She plays a nurse, and her 6-year-old daughter dies.
Oh, no.
And then this morgue technician, she works in morgue, she takes the body and reanimates it. That's the...
So the morgue technician comes in
Yeah.
to help Carla because she can't do it all by herself. She's no Frankenstein.
Zawo!
Thank you. That's just for the Scrubs fans out there.
That was good.
I had to think about that because it's been so long since I've seen
Yeah.
Scrubs.
Yeah. I wish it was just an episode of Scrubs.
That was good.
Thank you. Carla. And the Turk is all to his
It's like you made
shenanigans.
up for it.
It's nice seeing they're having a rebirth, the Scrubs people, because I see them on that goddamn commercial all the freaking time.
Oh, yeah. There's like, they're doing ads.
The T-Mobile was
for
like...
T-Mobile.
They started the show, the podcast, and I think that really like exploded. And it turns out like a lot of people love Scrubs.
Amy's talking about Zach Braff and Donald Faison.
Yeah, it was Fake Doctors, Real Friends.
To talk about it all the time on our television.
And the doctor was just in Alpha Space.
Alpha
last week,
Space, yeah,
they're-
John C.
I
McGinley.
just see them everywhere now.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's nostalgic for the early 2000s.
I guess so.
Except I haven't seen the girl from Roseanne pop up any recently.
Sarah Chalk.
She's a
Yeah.
voice on Rick and Morty.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's
She's
the
Beth.
sister, yeah.
Yeah. Very funny.
Sarah Chalk!
Okay, so
All right, now that we've gotten that all straightened out.
so at first I was not into this movie because it has a dead child about the same age as a nephew. Probably about the exact same age. And I was like, ugh, I don't know if I'm in for this.
Yeah.
I want to see a kid die. And then there has like hospital scenes where somebody's in a coma. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that either because
More triggers.
yeah, because my mom was in nursing home for like almost a year in a coma. So I'm like, I'm not ready for this right now.
Damn, I'm sorry.
But it got away from that pretty quick actually. So.
Freddie, can like not all of your reminders on your phone go off at one time?
I mean, I didn't want to draw any more attention to it than was necessary.
It's not going to be the end of it. It's going to happen.
I want the listener to know you're not crazy. There's not something beeping in your room.
No, it's beeping here.
It's Freddie.
Yeah. It's my little insulin reminder.
Okay.
I can't turn it off. I know. Because it's a medical app. And if I turn it off, my phone just starts beeping to tell me to turn it on. And then that doesn't stop.
Are you not allowed to turn it off?
I am, but then it beeps.
But are you not allowed to disable the beeping?
There's no option to disable it.
What? I'm sorry. You can delete the app?
Well, then I can't use the device.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Okay.
It's all linked up.
I mean, like, if you needed it to stop beeping, you could make it stop.
I could take this in the other room.
Oh, my God. Never mind.
Put it under a pillow.
Why this is important to me.
It's like Freddy's more machine than man at this point.
Yeah.
But how does the laser talk?
But how does the laser talk?
It has a speaker in the base, like RoboCop's chest.
Again, also an Origins
I
reference.
feel if he puts that in the other room, it'll beep louder.
Yeah.
It'll find a
to
way.
get its attention.
It'll probably crawl back in here.
I gotta keep working on that. There's probably a way to get rid of that.
We'll do it.
Well, you need to work on Siri's sensitivity too, because that bitch just
She's always piping
yaks
up.
up all the time.
It's the watch. The watch is like always listening. Always.
It is always listening, by the way.
Yeah,
it is always listening.
Yeah.
That's all right, though,
It
because they're all
knows.
listening to all of us. So
I
it
don't
doesn't
care
matter
anymore. Yeah, I used to care. I don't. I gave up.
It knows what your thoughts sound like.
Yeah.
It does.
So you guys want to go back to comas and trauma?
All right, Andy.
Well, it's probably good that we're doing riffing right now.
Yeah, because you don't have much
I
to
can't
say.
talk about this movie without spoiling it too much.
Right. But it's a big recommend.
Yeah, I
sounds
like it a lot because it's like I said, it's not about the horror. It's about the characters around it, and I really like the characters. There's a lot of character development.
Nice.
It's not as heavy as you think it is.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that because I'm not in.
Well, it's because it's stylishly directed, so it doesn't seem so like grounded in anything anyway because of the way it's directed.
That makes a big difference
Yeah.
for me too.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Like if it was just like straight on camera, like headshots and just a static camera in the room talking about people like seeing awful things.
Well, everybody did that. Like they got into that they're like, it's kind of documentarian style filmmaking. And then that has become like everyone who makes horror kind of latched on to like not super stylized. And they're like,
Cinema
it's scary.
verite.
Cinema verite. Yeah. And honestly, that works for some things when you need to amp up the feeling of like danger. But then but if you're telling a story that's like you're talking about, which is kind of a Frankenstein retelling, you want style. You're like, what are you bringing
But
to it?
it's like it's not like flashy or anything, like quick cuts or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's got just enough style to make it not too heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the styling too is the acting, the music, like all that. You know, it's not just the look of it too. I feel like there's probably, from what you're telling me, it sounds like it's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it's dramatic, and also like I like how it doesn't tell you things; it shows you. It's very. It doesn't. It trusts the audience. There's not these monologues like, "Look what you made me do. This is why I'm doing it." That type of things. That's what you expect from like a movie where like your child dies and you reanimate them, and like it's like there's no like monologues about them, about morals and ethics like that.
Nobody needs to monologue on that topic anyway, because anybody watching understands why.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need, like in Pet Sematary, like a big long speech from Judd as to why he's going to do it. It's enough to see him busted. Not
Yeah,
dead,
it's nothing like just like I'm not the villain here,
Yeah.
you are. Type,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting in this, but it's very like it's a pretty quiet movie actually.
This sounds good. I've been wanting to see it, and I want to see it more.
Yeah, I really
You
like
don't say.
I really like the
do say.
performances from Judy Reyes and the other actress. I don't know her name. I haven't really seen her or anything.
Myrtle Street.
Myrtle Street. But
Myrtle Street.
like when you watch a movie, you go to their IMDb page like for actors that are interesting.
Yeah.
And she works steadily, so good for her.
Yeah.
And she also favored Alise too, and that was nice. Like it's like, oh, what a pretty lady.
Well, it is a pretty lady if she
You got a
favors
face
Lisa.
you could trust.
I'll have to now it's double.
What if Elise is like, yeah, I did that movie a few years ago. I gave up acting.
But this came out just like last year. Like she did on the slide.
On the
I'll
side.
be like, oh.
She was
You
out
should
of the
ask
house.
her.
Like, I was probably jerking off or something. When you did that.
For weeks.
I get lost in it. Anyway,
Yeah, and this movie actually has like some provocative moments.
ooh,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't expect it to go like that way.
Yeah.
And
When
the-
you say provocative, what did they provoke?
Huh?
Feelings of
Yeah.
sexual desire,
Not sexual, but just
fear.
I'm not gonna
Rage.
There's nothing sexual about dead children. A
Oh,
movie
yeah?
about dead children, but like there are
What'd you
certain
say?
things.
What'd you say?
me? I didn't say anything.
Oh. Nobody
You
thought
said,
you said
"Oh
something.
yeah."
Nobody said that.
Did you say that?
What a horrible response to that sort of phrase right there.
Because the first thing that flitted through my mind was "want to bet," and I was just obviously it's a joke, but it feels like old Amy. It feels like
Yeah.
Origins.
Too mean.
Amy.
No, that's funny anytime.
It's a little bit funny.
I just feel like dead kids, you know? I gotta stop being attracted to dead kids.
I'll say this, and I will say this.
At least they're dead.
Anytime it's something so obvious, like I actually
Yes.
get annoyed if someone can't take a super obvious, or they're
Right.
like, "Well,
Yeah.
I can't deal with it."
It's too much.
Like you gotta get them sexy dead babies,
Yeah.
and you gotta be okay with
off
it.
of this motherfucking plane.
Off this motherfucking plane.
Get these sexy dead babies off my motherfucking plane.
I think we've completed that.
Yeah,
you
I
did
think we
it.
got
You
it.
did it. You like took
That's
it
the cap.
and you like
That was sealing it up in a Ziploc bag, never to be
was
talked
the-
about again.
it was the ribbon around the Hershey Kiss.
Make sure you get the air out of that Ziploc bag, though.
Yeah.
It is scary to think some people would think you're serious about stuff like that, but some people do.
Well, here's the way I think about those people.
They're
They
insane.
do not count.
Are they listening to the show, though?
Then not anymore. They think I'm into dead kids.
I feel our audience is very silly, like us.
Yeah.
You guys are silly billies, right? Yeah. Silly Billy Army, rise up. That's what we'll call you guys
Yeah.
now.
And also, last thing I want to say, like, what was I going to say? I guess I'm not going to say because I don't remember. Okay. It builds and builds, like, the tension and everything, and you expect, like, this big and explosive ending.
Right.
I guess is that a spoiler?
Well, you didn't say whether we get that or not. You just sort of said you expect one.
It just didn't end the way I expected it to end.
Yeah. I think that's usually good.
Yeah, it's really good. And,
Not always.
yeah.
Sometimes it feels like you've been kicked in the old
Yeah,
teeth.
and there's some character turns I wasn't expecting too. This is an unexpected movie in a
Yeah.
good way.
Oh, fun.
So I really like this movie. It made me it made me feel things.
All right. Oh.
Turns out the janitor character was in The Fugitive,
Yeah.
and nobody ever even brought it up or noticed.
We're back
until
to
one day
Scrubs,
everybody knew.
in case anybody had forgotten that part. When Neil Flynn was in The Fugitive, and they used that in Scrubs.
Yeah.
It's pretty creative.
Okay. Oh, it's my thing.
Yep.
Thank you, Andy.
Birth, Rebirth, recommend.
Welcome to Birth.
Welcome to Birth.
Shit. Where is this fucking movie? Okay. On Shudder. It's called Allegoria. And I'm going to tell you something. I saw a musical category and I went to it and I found this movie that is relatively new from 2022. And you're like, Amy, you hate musicals. I know. But sometimes it's fun to step out of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
All right.
Like we bought Charmin toilet paper recently, and that was something we weren't used to doing, was getting name brand toilet paper.
Right, it's new.
And it was new, and I didn't know what to expect. 'cause
Well, do you feel the difference?
well, it's not even like the top tier Charmin. It's like the economy version
The
of
basic.
Charmin. And we're about to crack it open. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh my God.
wanna live
Your
read.
assholes are going to thank you.
You're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
I want a live report while you're wiping. Like, ooh, Andy,
Bought
this is
name brand
nice.
toilet paper. I'd be like, it's going to be like a rap video in here.
Mm-hmm.
From the amount of luxury I'll be
And I wanna-
indulging in.
I want you to show me your ass afterwards to make sure there's no like left bits.
Clingers.
Yeah.
Bring the
Yeah.
bears with you.
FYI, this movie Allegoria was directed by Spider One.
Oh, yes.
From Power Man 5000.
That's
Power Man.
right.
5,000.
Rob Zombie's brother.
Is that true?
Yeah.
But
we just watched something else he made.
exactly, and I'm trying to figure that out by going through this list, and I really can't. I can't do it.
It's all right.
But
It's
anyway,
probably the next most recent thing.
Probably.
Yeah. Bury the Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
that
Bury
is
the
it.
Bride. Yeah.
All
That
right.
was mine, I think.
So this is Allegoria. A group of artists' lives become unwittingly entangled as their obsessions and insecurities manifest monsters, demons, and death. I think we got like a anthology type thing going on here. We've got some people in this thing. Scout Taylor Compton's in it.
Sure.
Adam Bush, Warren from Buffy.
I love
Oh, Warren.
Killed Tara.
Yeah, he was a real piece of shit.
He's a real piece of shit.
it. She's back now for the new thing they're doing, though. She's directing and writing it, too. The Buffy. You didn't hear about this?
No.
Was that the radio show they're doing?
Yeah, they're doing a new season, and Tara's back. I don't know how, through magic, obviously.
A radio show?
Yeah, with the original
Like a
cast.
podcast or like a...
I don't know.
I think they just have scripts and they're like reading
They're
it.
doing.
They're
yeah.
acting it out.
They're doing it. There's a radio.
A table
drama.
read?
But no, it's going to be produced. It's going to be produced. Like
I
think
gotcha.
it's
They're going to do like a radio drama style.
radio
thing.
drama is what I heard.
Okay.
Just telling you what I heard.
Are you just telling me?
I
what
wish
you
I had
heard?
more information. You know who would know? Fozzie, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
Screaming
asked.
at his fucking
Yeah.
speakers right now. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see who's going to do this. Oh, you can hear the wheel this week. It's nice when that works.
I'm a wheel watcher.
It looks like
I'm a wheel watcher.
What a nice throwback, Amy.
I know, right? Remember those commercials?
I do.
it's going to
Freddie.
be mad.
I
We're going to
think
go
this
Krogering.
This is probably good for you, honey, because it's about artists and their art and how that makes you feel, and that's basically your favorite thing to talk about. So
That's true. I do like talking about my feelings in art.
there you go. Alrighty. Well, thanks so much, everybody, and we'll be right back.
Boom.
Turn out lights, it's the main attraction.
Andy, are you bad?
Oh, I was just drawn that way.
Aww.
Drawn and quartered that way.
I like your pick, Andy. Thank you.
Oh,
You
man.
just like it?
I love it.
Thank
I
you.
loved this pick. It was, holy shit. This was a movie. I watched this so many fucking
So
times.
did I. That's like you and I always still quote it. Amazing. Come to Mina.
Yeah, the whole thing. I didn't even realize, like, I quoted the whole movie. Like, I was surprising myself, like, oh shit, I knew that line was coming. Fucking good job, man. Nicely done.
Yeah, this is in the groups of, to me, like perfect 80s movies.
Agreed.
Like, you know, you got your Jaws. Not your Jaws. It's your Gremlins. You got your Ghostbusters.
You Back to the Futures.
You Back to Your Futures.
Also
your,
Zemeckis.
Goonies.
Yeah.
And real quick, can I point out, speaking of Bob Zemeckis, something I caught for the first time that I never realized before.
Oh, you call him Bob.
I call him Bob.
Yeah, they're
We're
close.
tight. There's that scene where the weasels are like, I'm gonna ram him, which is exactly what they say in Back to the Future
Yeah.
when they're gonna kill Marty McFly. It's a
Yeah,
Bob
callback,
Zemeckis callback.
Just so you know, Bob Zemeckis. I'm gonna start calling him that too because it's cool.
What a run he had in the 80s, didn't he?
He.
Interesting.
This is what
Somewhat in the 90s, too.
Yeah.
I would start with Mr. Zemeckis, but go on.
Mr. Zemeckis. We just did Death
tight.
Becomes Her.
Yeah.
Toy.
We had done Romancing the Stone as Kelly's pick.
Oh.
He did 2 episodes at least of the writers from this and Robert Zemeckis. Well, Robert
Tales from
Zemeckis
the
did a
Crypt.
lot more than 2 episodes of Tales from the Crypt, but the writers from this wrote for Tales from the Crypt a couple of episodes. For Crying Out Loud, the one with Katie Seagal in the Rock Club, where the guy. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And then My Brother's Keeper with the Siamese twins or the conjoined twins. And I just thought that was really neat.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Very
ram him.
Lots of connections to. He's so good.
I think I'd only ever seen this movie maybe once or twice when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't like in heavy rotation in my life.
Yeah.
So coming back to it now, I really didn't remember anything. I mean, everybody remembers like, and like, I'm just drawn that way. But I didn't remember how big her titties were.
Gigantic.
And I just didn't remember the plot at all. So this is like almost watching it brand new.
Well, as a kid, the plot is
cool.
very complicated.
It is.
It is. It's complicated.
It is, as an adult.
Well, I love it starts in the cartoon world and you're in a short and you think you're just watching a short before the movie starts, which is something, like a lot of these companies, especially Warner Brothers, this feels like a Warner Brothers short.
Yeah.
But it's Disney style animation. It's real top line.
Which is it's such a great, because it's like Arcade Maroon is a combo of the two others. So it kind of, it's like a blend. It's exactly.
They nailed like the two styles come together. And then later when you start bringing in characters from both IPs, you're just like,
They
wow.
let Mickey Mouse say killed.
Well, they were like, is this a Touchstone picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did they make this happen?
I missed that because
I love Touchstone
It's sad
pictures.
because watching this, I realized like this movie would never be made now.
Yeah.
Well, they thought it wasn't going to get made then because it was the book who censored Roger Rabbit, and Amy and I were looking at this. Do you know about this, Andy? The book?
Yeah.
Have you read it?
I read it, but like just reading about the facts about this, like the trivia.
Do you know the weird convoluted version of the story that was in the book?
You
like
couldn't
how
even
different
explain
it was?
it. It's insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. Like it's Roger Rabbit.
It's an 80s style noir for adults.
Yeah.
Like
It
it's
is
like
for adults, and they're like
Genie.
comic strip characters, and they have word balloons that come out of their
No,
mouth.
I heard like it's his double that.
He makes a double.
Yeah, the
which is
cartoon
who-
characters can make doubles. Of
They can make
themselves.
doubles themselves, so that when they do scenes where they get squished
yeah,
or whatever,
I think Roger Rabbit is dead in this
he's
book
dead.
or something like that.
He's the murder victim.
Yeah.
He dies in the beginning, but then like his double, like there's a genie in it. It's all, but it's super dark, and Jessica Rabbit's really behind some bad stuff too. And then the version that you get has been like crazy toned down from the book that it's based on. So like, I think the big sticking point was that, if they did something like this now, back then it was Disney who had enough, they didn't have the reputation they have now. So, but they had enough of a reputation that they could reach out to Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers is like, you have to give equal screen time to our licensed characters, but you can do it. But
Yeah.
now that shit, you're right.
Yeah,
that
Let
shit just won't
Daffy
happen.
and Donald do a bit.
That's why that's why it was historic, because those characters came together for the first time.
There's no fucking way I would have gotten that as a kid, but now as a recovering Disney adult,
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, can you believe they fucking did that? Eisner's a goddamn genius, but he's crazy.
Which is, I remember it was a big deal, I thought at the time, because you didn't see, it was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
IP.
Bugs
like-
Bunny and Mickey Mouse are together in the same fucking thing.
Like Mickey Mouse is in a movie where there are like sex jokes.
It's a
They
pretty
would
adult
never
movie.
let it
curse
happen.
words.
Well, they break that wall that you start in that cartoon. What was it called, Andy? Baby Trouble or something like that?
Baby Herman in
I'm a little stinker. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, Baby Herman was doing the typical cartoon baby shit and like constantly falling into danger, but
Yeah.
Roger is trying to save him, and in return is getting like pummeled and shit. But they break the wall, and you realize that shit. When I saw this in the theater, that shit was the mind-blowing moment when Baby Herman comes off and starts smoking that fucking cigar. What?
Well, and after that bit, I love seeing the giant legs.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's so much background humor in this.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I said. Like, there's so many reasons why this movie wouldn't be made nowadays. Just the attention to detail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because everything you see, like the sets, you
Yeah.
don't see like sets as detailed as this now, because everything is done by CGI and seems so soulless.
I'm
and
not-
sterile.
Yeah, and this is just a complete, there's no science or thought or research behind what I'm about to say. But it did feel like not that they cared any less about making money then. Like I'm under no myth that movies were about the art and not money, but I think in the 80s everyone was about spending that money. Like, let's make big money, let's spend big money. And so I think studios loved lavishing. I mean, I'm sure the money people at the base didn't love it, but like it seemed like they were willing to pump a lot of money into almost anything if they had it.
It was also before all the big corporations came in and took over the studios.
Right.
Or it was the
Plus,
beginning of that time.
The old guys were still there.
Yeah.
Like the guys who started with these studios in the 50s
Yeah.
Well, you still have
40s.
you still have the original voices like Mo
Yeah.
Blanc and the original voice of Betty Boop,
Who was
by
in
the way,
Christmas
it's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Blessing.
You know, when I heard her in this, I was like, I wonder if that
The
was still her.
Blessings wife.
Yeah, it was.
So she was when she did Betty Boop for this, she was old already. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
this is a year before Christmas Vacation.
couple years. Or yeah,
This was
couple years.
88.
Oh, so then 1 year.
This
yeah.
is
She still had a pretty high pitch.
Vacation's 89.
She still sounded like Betty Boop, but she had to be like 90 or something. It seems.
Well, I mean, she still pretty much sounded like that in Christmas Vacation too. But you are right. Like, nobody will spend that kind of like, they won't build sets because they don't have to build sets anymore. So it's all about like not spending. I feel like now they just you're right. Everything has to be quicker. It's just a different time.
They'll spend on CGI. I mean, look at a budget for a Marvel movie, but like they won't. You're right. They won't spend for practicality and like.
Well, you got to think about like publicly traded companies, right? Is back then was Disney a publicly traded
Warner
company?
Brothers might buy Paramount.
Yeah,
Is that crazy?
that's weird.
Or what Kelley was saying, like, I'm under no illusions that they weren't out to make money and they're going to make art for art's sake and fuck everything else. Obviously, they're going to want to make money off of this, but like, I feel like they wouldn't do this because they wouldn't cooperate with each other and help each other out.
Exactly. Well, that's part of it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like all of, well, you gotta give me me. Well, you gotta give me me. You better give me me.
Like, how did they have good relationships back then? I mean, what?
Probably not, but they saw the benefit. I'm sure.
And I think it's because Steven Spielberg is like has such pull and power back then that he can get things made back.
He could get things made,
yeah.
but also he was well liked enough that it was not just his power, but like people wanted to do stuff for him. Have you ever, Liz, that Robert Evans memoir he wrote, The Kid Stays in the Picture?
Or the picture.
Have you either like
all I know about it is the Patton Oswalt.
Oh yeah,
bit.
it gives you like this. He gets into like kind of like the human side of all this stuff in that era of filmmaking, and how they get in the backroom deals and like the glad handing, and how much of it is like knowing somebody you can call at 3 a.m.
But even like the movies that made us talks, like the Ghostbusters one talks about, that's how they got the name Ghostbusters. Like just going back and forth, and then somebody finally like taking over a studio.
Who was a fan, right? Who liked the project enough,
who had greenlit it at the other studio he worked at,
and he came back. Yeah, that's right. He actually ended up where they had to make the final decision.
So, in my mind, I like to think that all the studios said, like, you guys are making something special.
Yeah.
So let's give you our characters so you can make this movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
like,
again,
maybe,
they had,
like I said, that's probably naive of me, but like that's what I.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
think there was
still
a pure thing behind it.
and it was a solid business decision at the time. Again, I don't think there are things thought of as much as like moneymaker stars or even directors. I mean, there is, but I feel like at the time they were like, you got Steven Spielberg, you got Bob Zemeckis, you got Bugger Bunny, you got Daffy Duck and Mickey Mouse. No brainer. And they're just like, and it could have been a flop, but and they still would have thrown that money at it.
Because it's a character nobody knows about. It's like Mickey Mouse is not headlining this movie. It's Roger Rabbit.
It's not like Bob Hoskins was like.
Yeah, there are no stars
Box
in this
office
really.
draw, big huge draw, and they went with I mean, Charles Fleischer was not like a name.
No.
Nowadays, that would be Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Well,
And Bob Hoskins wouldn't be cast as you would.
Yeah, they'd get like Pedro Pascal,
Yeah.
which I'd be okay with. But they would get a name for the voice, and then you wouldn't have such an incredible voice.
And you get a name for Jessica Rabbit's voice. You get a name for all the voices.
Well, Kathleen Turner was a name.
Yeah.
She's got a beautiful
and
voice.
speaking
It's
of,
such a good voice.
another Spielberg connection. You know who sang the song?
Amy Irving.
Amy Irving.
Yeah.
I was wondering who it was.
You're gonna have to refresh my memory on who
She's
that is.
Sue Snell. She's Sue in Carrie.
Yeah, she was married to Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. They did. Yeah.
I was like, that is not Kathleen Turner singing.
Yeah,
knew that.
Well, that's because I said this. I was like, because Elise said, "Who's the voice?" I was like, "Well, I don't know who sings her, but Kathleen Turner's her voice." And then she looked that up, and she's like, "Amy Irving." I was like, "Oh, motherfucker, shit!" I was like, "Holy shit!" I didn't even know she sang.
Did you know Paul Rubens was originally Roger Rabbit?
Was he?
Yeah, Fleischer.
Charles Fleischer.
Yeah, Charles Fleischer.
Charles Fleischer. Yeah, was added.
Who might
later.
be dead, but I'm not sure.
Really, I don't think so.
You're probably right. I always
gonna
think
check,
people are
though.
dead and then they're not. That's how I save lives.
I hope one day you think I'm dead.
I don't know. Where do you? Let's just talk about bits that we liked. I don't know. What are we into? The dip was fucking horrifying.
Dip's pretty scary.
Fleischer's still alive.
Oh, good. See, I saved his life.
Is it? All right, I want to talk about it.
No, talk about it.
Jessica Rabbit. Beautiful.
Sure.
A tune.
Yeah.
She sings at a human club, so the humans can look at her, and the humans they want to fuck her.
Sure.
So humans and tunes can fuck.
I don't know, but they want to.
They could
She's
play
a
patty
drawing
cake.
of a person.
It's like a
human.
it's like going to see a stripper. You're not going to fuck them strippers either.
Do you think it would be more like what if
But I'm wondering if it happens, and then do they have babies like Spock? He's a half human, half
probably more
Vulcan.
like Tuvok.
You're thinking about Tuvix.
Well,
Tuvix, that's what I meant.
in Cool World, if a tune had sex with a person, the tune became a person and came into the real world.
Yeah, Cool World was like the response to this, I think, in a lot of ways.
And what sucks is, because I love Ralph Bakshi, I wanted to like Cool World so much. It is not good at all.
No, it blows a lot of opportunities.
Which sucks.
Say the least.
Which sucks. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I'd have sex with that tune.
You know what?
Considering though how exploited tunes are in this world of this movie.
Well, that's depressing,
It felt
actually,
icky.
because they tried their best to save Toontown, and if you look at it now, if it's our world, Toontown's gone.
Yeah.
No, actually, they demolished it in Disneyland so they could put Star Wars there.
Yeah.
Well, there's Toontown still there, but it's real tiny.
It's
yeah,
tiny.
smaller. Do you
Is the
know?
ride still there?
The Red Rabbit ride, yeah.
Okay, good. Because that's a good dark ride. That's a fun, zany one. Highly recommend it.
Well, like you know how like your carsing, how do they?
I
have-
cars so hard watching
That's
this.
the problem. Like that's the beauty of this movie. I didn't cars this movie.
That's
once.
awesome.
But I
Is it
enjoyed my carsing. I like to speculate a little.
Because like Cars opens itself up to that speculation.
It really does.
But for this one, it plays everything so straight.
It does. Well, that's why the patty cake, it's like, you don't know, but that just makes it so you don't even ask that. It doesn't matter. They're playing patty
You
cake.
just accept the rules of that universe.
Yeah,
how it is.
You mean
So-
as a kid watching it, you're like patty cake didn't read as sex to you, or
no, I'm just saying the
Is
movie.
the implication that tunes can't fuck, but they play patty cake and it's the same thing?
Well, I don't think there is any implication.
Why am I so obsessed with this?
I just
See,
mean
I always saw it
that
as
there's
like
just the joke. I don't
Yeah.
think there is any answer
Yeah,
to that
I think
question.
Oh,
It's a
right.
joke.
It's cute enough. Patty cake for adults. To me, it's just one of those things where it's one thing for adults and another thing for
Yeah.
the kids.
yeah, it's all about
Exactly.
It just did it for the bit that you think patty cake is them.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's
clapping
also
cheeks.
it's what pluses that and what makes that a great moment in the movie is it's not only a joke about sex with cartoons, it's a cartoon joke because he's flipping through the photos, and that's like the way they test the animation, so the
Well, even
animators thought of these things.
That setup for the joke, like even when Eddie Vine is like
Yeah.
taking pictures, like, oh my god,
Yeah.
and you hear them like
Making the sex noises.
the clapping sound,
The
and
setup's sexual
and
for
the
sure.
reveal, like they're actually literally playing patty cake.
And what's and actually, Amy, if it helps you,
Please help
with
me.
your carsing, because it is, I believe, done simply for the bit because it's funny. But that is a thing for tunes, like
Yeah.
in their world. That's why anything is done. So it's like that had to happen because it's only for the bit.
Yeah, like
Everything's for the bit.
Everything is for the bit.
They have their rules in the universe. Like
And does their god draw them?
I didn't think about why.
Who is your god?
Like there are different rules in Toontown than in the human world.
Because it's Toontown,
Yeah.
baby.
But I love the setup of Eddie. Like they're like, why does he hate tunes so much?
Yeah.
And they're like, a tune killed his brother.
He dropped a pan on his head, and that line is played so straight.
Yeah.
Yes. It is so. The noir aspects of this are so perfectly like old Bogart movies.
Oh yeah.
And the cartoon bits are so the refined version of that. And the two of them, whoever was like,
It's so good together.
Just like a tune to
and
drop.
you can't credit the
Drop a
source
safe on a guy's
material.
head.
You can't.
Well, it's because there's no like wink, wink, nudge,
Right.
nudge type things. They're like meta things in this movie. They're not
Right.
like it's not like a Shrek movie or a Scream where
Right.
like they're playing on these tropes. They're just presenting them.
They're creating a new trope. And that's the thing I was saying, like that the book doesn't have this sensibility to it. Like the movie has it. They created something that is very new, which is a noir cartoon that is like it's like
a noir
Chinatown.
zany cartoon.
Yeah.
Not like an animated noir, but a zany, like a
zany,
noir
yeah.
movie set in a zany cartoon world.
Yeah.
And what now, of course, I haven't read the book, so I can't say
Sounds
for sure.
awful.
But it doesn't sound good. I've looked into it a number of times. This seems one of those times where taking an idea from a book, I think they bettered it. Sort of like Jaws.
Definitely.
I think they bettered that.
They did.
Steven Spielberg is a way of bettering things.
A good idea is a good idea.
Yeah.
Execution is key though, because like you can have a great premise and then you give it to some fool, and what you end up with is people watch it and
You
they
gotta
go,
keep
good
fools
premise.
away from your premises.
Keep your fools away from your premises. You got to keep them
90
separated.
90% of what we watch is just good premise.
Yeah.
I mean, most of it has a good premise. It's enough to put on a poster, but this is literally like once you get into that point where they're at the club and you're, back to Jessica Rabbit, you think she's going to be a rabbit at this point.
Yeah.
The first time you see it. And she comes out as this super sexualized torch singer woman. And then on top of that, the sequin dress, Amy and I were both like, it looked like a portal to another dimension.
Look like a portal to a world where all the stars are red, the sky is red.
Yeah,
It's red.
it was like a new look. Like they were doing things with animation
That you couldn't do.
No, it used to be like Mary Poppins and all these early ones. It's a still shot.
And it's very flat.
It's flat. They don't move the camera. Like in this, they move the camera around. The cartoons cast shadows on real objects in the room.
That's what blew my, because this is when I started getting the idea of doing animation and like being fascinated with the process of I always like cartoons, but like this is when I really started to get interested in that because of the way the live action and the cartoons, like my balls were blown off by the reflections of the two ducks in the piano.
And also how like the cartoons and how their actions affect the human world. Like the cannon blows a hole through the piano.
Yeah.
And then you see the hole. Robert jumps through the window and leaves a rabbit's shaped hole.
Yeah, they're physical beings.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
And they use
but that's like the movie making in this movie is so amazing.
Have you heard the expression "bump the lamp"?
Have you heard the expression?
It's their version of plussing it. As it comes from this movie, I guess like they use that whenever people blend animation and live action now, they talk about bumping the lamp because of a scene in this where the lamp moved because a cartoon bumped into it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was maybe originally an accident and they were like, make it move, and sell the scene or stuff blowing around. They used bubbles, like soap bubbles really effectively in this and just wind and smoke. And, the craftsmanship stuff. And then the movie, it's not just the craftsmanship stuff. It's the love of old Hollywood that's in this. Because when Eddie's in his office and he's reminiscing about his murdered brother and he looks at the photos, those look like they're out of those old Bob Hope road movies. Like you remember the ones with who was it who did those with him? It was Hope and
Danny Kaye, or
I think so. Danny Kaye did some of them.
I don't know if it's Danny Kaye.
But like the Road 2, the ones they always parody on Family Guy.
Floats.
The ones it's always Brian and Stewie on Family Guy doing the same bits, but like those pictures, look at the straw hats and the Hawaiian shirts.
They were coming out of the guitar.
Yeah, they were off on an adventure together. So you get this all from the pictures in Eddie's office. You get this backstory that he was more than a brother; they were best friends, and they had adventures together that you didn't see.
Well, I didn't realize the setup of when they're panning through the pictures of their kids. And it says visiting our dad at work, and they're clowns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it pays off at the end when Eddie has to make the hyenas laugh to death.
Yeah.
I never put that
I hadn't
that
either.
together.
Yeah.
Are those are
I didn't even
hyenas,
think
not
about
weasels?
that.
No,
And I
weasels.
love the idea that
They're
the
weasels.
weasels. Sorry, yeah.
They're
He
weasels.
says like, "You gonna laugh yourself to death like your cousin's hyenas."
Yeah.
That's where it gets.
So,
That's where I mixed
so
up.
the weasels, are they the same ones from Mr. Toad that tried to take Toad
They
Manor?
might be.
Because they reminded me so much, and I didn't have time to look that part up. But I love like the ones who con him into giving them the manor for the car.
He
right?
showed up too. Did you see Mr. Toad show up?
Yeah, he was when they first get to Toontown,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Tally ho!"
It's so great.
See that.
He's on the fire. He's on the fire truck.
Yeah.
I could watch this movie over and over again. I
and
think.
this
fussy little asshole.
I love about the weasels. Even at the end when they die, they still go to heaven.
Yeah.
Even though they're villains.
They're playing their little harps.
So in my mind, all cartoons go to heaven.
Yeah.
Amy, you had a question about selling, like the tunes being sold as property.
So at Acme, when they're in the warehouse and they like open a crate and it's a bunch of squeaking shoes, but they're tunes.
This is a very 2024 way to look at this movie.
And
next tattoo.
they're, I know you can't. I couldn't help myself. They're
Same thing with
beings.
in the singing sword.
Yes, they're beings kept in a crate to be sold.
Well, I feel like there's differences between like prop cartoons and
We have a hierarchy
and like anthropomorphic.
beingness.
Like
Yeah.
human
Well, some of them aren't
cartoons.
some of them don't have personality.
Yeah.
Some of them are just a hole.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
it was
the hole
shoe
you
that he
throw up on the
dipped.
thing and it was alive.
That was alive and it was horrifying.
Oh,
But he got dipped.
The weasels. One of them is Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
That's the main one, right?
I think so,
yeah.
Fall in, you mugs.
And back to
Yeah,
the shoes, like when the shoes fell out, there's one that were goose stepping.
Yeah,
Which
the
is
boots.
like, yikes.
Yo, but it was the 47,
Yeah.
so the war was still a raging.
Amy, you wanted me to note that there was a poster for a movie called Pistol Packin' Possum.
Like a tune movie in somewhere. Pistol packing possum.
Yeah,
Don't get possums guns.
you shouldn't.
They're just gonna like play possum, and then you can take it from them. What's the point?
Oh, what's the
What is the
origin
point?
of the cartoon gun that Eddie has? I might have feel like I missed wherever that came from.
I think he had been like a well-respected figure in Toontown.
Oh yeah, him
and
and his brother worked Toontown all the time, so he had a tune gun for when he worked tune cases.
It was made just for when they worked tune cases.
Yeah.
So all the bullets were all the stereotypes too, which was kind of like the last time
the
you'll
Western
probably see
stereotypes.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like they're characters that wouldn't be portrayed in that way. I think now.
Well, there's a lot of things that wouldn't be portrayed. How baby Herman is like sexually harassing his assistant
Yeah.
and smacking her on the
Yes.
ass and like smoking
Yeah,
I
and
also-
talking about his dinky.
yeah.
that's right. About his pain.
I got a 50-year-old lust, but a 3-year-old dinky.
But they're playing like it is a movie from the 40s because they would do a movie.
Right.
Like,
Oh, they had a fight
Yeah.
with Warner Brothers over that. Warner Brothers wanted all of their properties to be done in the style that we were getting in the stores with the hip hop style animation, like all that rebranded stuff.
They did want
dare
that because
they?
that's how you got Taz.
Yeah, they did that. Now Warner Bros. Really was trying to make their characters cool back then, because again, like you were saying, been around since
But that
the 40s.
wouldn't make sense because there was no hip hop
Yeah.
back in the 40s.
Well, Disney, that was their argument. Was they were like, we can't bring these new designs into our movie because we are setting it. This aesthetic is the 40s. So what they did was they made versions that they sent to Warner Brothers for approval, and then just kept the 40 styles one in there. So when you see Daffy Duck and all that, that version you're seeing is not the one Warner Brothers originally approved.
Can you imagine how shitty that would be?
It would have sucked.
the amount of angry sex with prostitutes that took place later that night at the Warner Brothers studio?
Oh yeah.
Because you were like, you disrespected me.
There was so much trivia and little bits about this movie because it took so long to make too. So many people were involved that I know there's at least one fan made documentary that Amy and I had on earlier. I can't remember the name, but if you go to YouTube and just look at Roger Rabbit, like there's so much story that went into just the production of it.
I would love to watch like a making of
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Come
type
on,
things.
movies that made us make.
We
one
don't
about
even
this.
need to go to YouTube. It's there.
Yeah, do we
Somebody
know-
made like an hour and 16-minute documentary about
Because
it.
remember, like DVDs, they would have like all this behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
ever do this for this
Yeah.
movie?
I just said it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
There's an hour and 16-minute long documentary. It has all that.
Oh, I
has
thought you
all-
said it used
Do you
the
know-
fan.
It might even
It's
be-
fan made,
Oh,
but it's
is it?
original footage
okay.
that they've. It's just it wasn't made by a studio. It was made
Oh,
by a
that's
fan
okay.
of Roger Rabbit, which is becoming more common. Like fans are getting access to a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
because that was because you'd think that Disney would hold all this footage close to their chest that they wouldn't.
Well, they've previously aired a lot of it on TV,
Mm-hmm.
trying to lead up to promoting. So that a lot of it's out there, but like Robert Fleischer.
Charles Fleischer.
dressed up like Roger Rabbit when they were filming it? Would
I was
stand off
wondering
screen.
if he was on set.
Yes, he
Okay,
was.
good.
He would stand off screen and read for Roger Rabbit in a costume, a Roger Rabbit costume. And then it started rumors that he was playing a live action rabbit. And people were like, it looks terrible. Like there was stuff there, like the costume is real shit, you know. But it was it was just because he was.
I love the fucking. It's like today. It's just like today when someone sees a set picture, they're like, "Look at Ghostbusters," but they're women.
It's no different. Less fans back then, I guess, who were into how they were made.
Yeah.
But like you still, it's like it did remind me of that. Like, of course they shit on it.
Yeah, of course.
Somebody had to shit on it.
Everybody's gonna shit on shit sometimes. Everybody's a shitter.
I love how they drew Skid Row in Toontown too.
Yeah.
Down on Skid.
Down on Skid.
All the brown boxes and stuff. It was just a cool backdrop.
And the houses, which were also from those cartoons, the talking houses.
That's so good. Now I could watch this right now. I could just turn it back on and just sit and stare at it in silence.
Great movie.
And I couldn't find the trivia about this, but like watching this and looking at Registered Rabbit, I was like, oh my God, did they get inspiration from Divine from Pink Flamingos?
Oh, probably.
Because the way her eyebrows are and the eyeshadow and the big forehead, even down to the red dress.
Yeah.
It's like, that's Divine.
Well, she's partially, that might be. She's partially based on that little Red Hot Riding Hood from the cartoon where the wolf is like, ooga. You know what I'm talking about?
I believe you.
Yeah, we're
From the
rolls
40s
out.
where the chick in the little red dress comes out and sings.
And he's more of a sexy big bad wolf or horned up.
He's horned up.
Super horned up.
So she's partially based on that, but you might be very...
Well, in my gay mind, that is canon because
Yeah.
I know like Divine was the inspiration for Ursula in
It
Little
makes
Mermaid.
a lot of sense, Andy, and I'm sure that you could probably,
you're probably
get
right.
confirmation on that because, like, I mean, again, if Paul Rubens was original for that group, you can draw like a straight line back to John Waters through a lot of the people who worked for Disney and the groundlings out in L.A. and the connections with like who knew who
And the Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice, Andy.
Thank you.
Great choice.
great
It's such
choice.
a nostalgic movie for me.
Yeah.
And I get it a lot more as an adult.
I got a lot more out of it
Because
than I think
at 8 years old, I've never seen a film noir before.
Yeah.
Are you
So-
still Zemeckis fan of his newer movies?
Oh, what has he put out lately?
Forrest Gump.
Well, after
What have you done for me lately, Bob?
a lot of stuff.
Because I thought he stopped to kind of slow down after.
He did
was it
slow
Polar
down, but he's still
Express
making
or whatever.
movies. No, he's made stuff since then.
No,
He's made stuff.
It's not the fun shit that he used to make. Everything he does now is stuff like that movie Flight. Well, he did do the new Pinocchio for Disney. Oh, that's a producer credit, maybe.
Flight was pretty good
He
up to a
directed it.
point.
is that the Denzel Washington one?
Yeah, and it was good until it got to a certain point, and then it became a different kind of movie, and then it got real boring. But it wasn't bad.
He did that 2020 remake of The Witches with Anne Hathaway.
Oh God, that was awful.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
Remember the end where Chris Rock is an adult rat?
It wasn't Chris Rock, wasn't it? Kevin Hart.
That was Chris.
It was Chris Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Chris Rock, the
God.
old mouse.
Yeah. Old Mouse had a receding hairline.
He did Welcome to
That's
Marwin.
right.
That was really good, actually. It was really sweet.
I do feel like it is probably partially because, I mean, again, that's a director of a certain kind of movie from a time when, from a different kind of, like they don't make those kind of movies the way they used to.
You need everybody. You can't just have the director. Like you would need, in this case, like all those other brains that were made Roger Rabbit. You know, because I think like you need that team to recreate that feeling.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, I just think Hollywood's different.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Hollywood's a different place.
Although his Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, I really love.
I've never
pretty
seen
good.
that.
I think it's really, really good.
I
It's
was meant to see it.
underrated.
Meant to see
Underrated.
it.
Yeah, beautifully animated.
So who's next? Is it Freddy? that's
Freddie
next?
Morris is next.
I am.
And I'm super psyched for this too.
Wow, already.
Yeah, baby.
How's this go
Got
so
for us.
fast? Major League.
Major League. We just watched Bull Durham the other. I introduced
I haven't
Alise to
seen
Bull
that in
Durham.
forever.
Great movie.
Still good?
Better than I remember it because I'm an adult now. But vastly different baseball movie.
Yeah, Susan Sarandon made me super horny in that movie.
Well, she's supposed to.
She did.
She's
Did a good
supposed to.
job. Sorry, Amy.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amy.
Sorry, Amy. Susan Sarandon. I know.
Oh, did she make you horny like 40 years ago?
I mean, she still does. Why not?
Oh my god.
I mean, she screwed up some elections and stuff, but that's okay.
Yep, she did
Yeah,
it all around.
single-handedly.
Still pretty beautiful.
Anyway, good movie. And I'm psyched now because when we watched it, we were talking about Major League, and so now we don't have
Got to watch it.
I can watch it.
I've watched. The reason it's my pick is because I rewatched it just on a whim, and it blew me away.
Nice.
I was like, this is way better than I was already a fan, but it wasn't like in my top comedies or anything. But it has aged like fine wine.
Well, I'm psyched.
Yep.
Super psyched.
I'm glad.
Fantastic. Well, that will be next week. Now, at the end of every show, we say hi to our Beelzebubs.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon.com/NOTLP if you want to be one.
Be one.
And you do. Alise.
See who's one?
Alyssa.
Alyssa, did you know that Tim Curry was originally going to be Judge Doom, but he was too scary? It's true.
I believe it.
Branan and Emily. Branan, we're working on the Bob Newhart merch line. We're not really.
If you really want it,
We'll figure it out.
maybe it'll happen. Maybe one of the things will have Bob Newhart on it.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
I want it like one of those color changing mugs where he's dressed,
And then
and then you pour the hot
Oh my
coffee in, and he becomes
God.
nude.
we went to our great niece's
Genius.
second birthday on Saturday, and one of her little friends was
Oh
there.
my God, he's so cute.
And he's the same
Brody.
age. And he was dressed like a little Bob Newhart.
He had a little sweater on. His hair was parted
hair
just like Bob
parted.
Newhart's. And we've been watching so much Newhart anyway, like it's in my brain. But besides that,
He looked like it was like a little sweater and a little
yes,
flannel.
if you knew who Bob Newhart was and you saw this little boy, you thought the same thing. He was a tiny Bob Newhart. He was so cute.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right.
Meow.
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 I say meow at the end of the opening credits every time we watch it.
Yeah.
And then I let Bob say it at the end. But it deserves 2 meows. It's that good.
MTM, baby. Good quality WKRP as well.
Yeah. Oh, man.
God.
KRP.
We are just
Old.
old. Back to the list. Jeffel. Iona Goodwin.
I know, great one.
Dr. Brian. Ol Dirty. Bill Sturd.
That's old.
No one said what's
Not
up, Doc.
old.
What's up, Doc? Old, not old, correct. Bill Farner. Frosted Blakes. Blayne Yogurt. Jordache Jeans. Paul. Jeremy. Cassie. Gamora.
Boom.
Ernie. Dave Siebert. Monica. And Dustin.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
your
you so
monies
much.
and your listenage.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you.
Couldn't do anything without each other because we as humans need each other to survive in this crazy world.
Seemingly.
Go high five somebody tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Or just now. Just do it.
Well, it's late in the day for me, but maybe tomorrow.
She's none for her tonight. She's driving, but
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Bye.
bye.
Should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead, and Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they'd enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the streets of London